Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Clements, and this is the Hesed podcast, equipping your community for spiritual formation as we all hope to become more like Christ, allowing His Spirit to develop us into His functional body. This is week 2 of our 8-week series entitled Increasing Joy Capacity. Joy is the foundation for a secure bond with God. Let's not consider joy to be an emotion so much as a supra emotion, because it can go on top of and connect with other emotions. Our brains experience 6 main unpleasant emotions: fear, anger, sadness, shame, disgust, hopeless despair. Ideally, when we are babies and experience these emotions, our caretaker will look us in the eye with joyful love and remind us that we are not alone and we are loved. In that experience, the baby learns secure, joyful attachment, and the baby learns that the circumstance does not define them. Let me tell you a story about something that happened with me and my son on the plane. My family take international flights at least once a year, so my children are very comfortable on planes. One year when I was traveling alone, the plane I was on had lots of turbulence, and I decided it was scary, and I let myself stay in the emotion of fear, inviting it to stay. I let my imagination go wild, imagining all the horrible things that might happen. And fear just gripped me. After that, every time I felt turbulence, I had so much fear. I was just sitting there committing myself to the Lord, preparing for myself to accept death. Fear really had set in. Until one day, on another flight with my family, it started up again, and my teenager looked over at me, and he saw the look of fear on my face, and he took it on. He told me later that turbulence had never bothered him until he saw the look on my face. I learned that even in my older kids, it was really important he was looking to me for security. I repented to God and my son for allowing fear to dwell in my head. I commanded the fear to leave, and the next time I experienced turbulence, I connected it with joy. I prayed, God, you love me. Thank you. You're in control. I trust you whatever happens. So when my son looked over the next time we were flying and felt turbulence, he saw a smiling, loving face and comforting eyes letting him know that we were okay. And he was able to regain that peace. Parents, even if you don't get it right for your babies, your kids will still look to you for stability. Anchor yourselves to joyful attachment with God, and He'll help you connect with your kids. Now, just like babies, when we experience any of the 6 unpleasant experiences, we just recognize that they're there. We need to allow ourselves to have that emotion, but at the same time, look up. Remember your joyful memory that we organized last week and connect with it and with that emotion. Connect your joyful memory with your unpleasant emotion. You will feel less alone, and you will feel loved in the moment with your unpleasant emotion. And the unpleasant emotion will remain peripheral, not central to your identity. Michael Hendricks gave us a good example of how this works, or why this works, in the other half of the church. For example, he writes, "If I lose my job, this is usually not considered a joyful occasion. Instead, I am probably feeling some combination of sadness, fear, and anger. However, when I experience these unpleasant emotions and can simultaneously feel that God is with me, I have added joy into the mix. If I have close friends who are also happy to be with me in my loss, my joy magnifies even more. Now I'm feeling sad and joyful, fearful and joyful, angry and joyful. Joy does not replace the unpleasant emotion. Instead, it combines with my emotion to keep me relationally connected in distress. Jim Wilder writes, God designed our brains to know itself in relationship, and then only when that relationship is one of love. Jesus intends his church to function as a family that is bonded together with joyful attachment of love. Like a baby with her two smiling parents, our church can create environments for developing our joyful identities as children of God. When we participate in joyfully attached relationships, we will put our brains into the ideal zone for developing us into the image of Christ. We are filled with joy and surrounded with stable, deep attachment. Our prefrontal cortex is energized to build a stable identity. Just like my son, when we experience hard or unstable things, we bring it to our community, connect with someone there, and they come around us in joy and remind us that we're not alone and that we are loved. Our circumstances are not who we are. Now it's time to gather with your people and discuss how you can bring joyful memories and be joyful with each other in times of distress. And that is the end of the week 2 Hesed podcast.